Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your patience. We're just going to get started in a couple of minutes here, so thank you for your patience. Good evening, members of council, ladies and gentlemen, staff. I see that we have a quorum, and I call this special meeting for the Town of Pelham for April 25th, 2016 to order. I want to start by thanking each of you for being here this evening, those that are here in attendance and those that might be watching on Cogeco or live streamed as well on the internet. It's heartening to see so many people interested in our community and interested in this topic, so thank you very much for joining us. We received many items of feedback and comments, both online and in correspondence. You'll find in the packages quite thick this evening. So again, it indicates a lot of interest in our community and in this particular topic. Before I move to acceptance of the agenda, I do have some housekeeping items that I'd like to share with you. The first is this is a formal meeting of council. And so we must uphold standards of decorum and respect. All those that are addressing council, please do so through myself as chair of the meeting. And council, when they're asking questions of the presenters, will do so through myself, the chair as well. That helps with an orderly meeting. As our procedure bylaw says, with council approved, we must be temperate and courteous. So let's try and do that. And let's try and listen to our friends and neighbors and hear them and take what they say in proper form, etc. So in that respect, I would ask that there be no heckling or applause because this is a formal meeting. I would ask those that might be wearing hats to remove them. I know that might be difficult for some that are used to wearing them, but it is a formal meeting. And anyone with cell phones, please turn them on silent so they're not disturbing the proceedings. And I would ask that we respect the presenters. The fire chief has advised that he would like us to keep the fire aisles as possible, and I know we're spilling out over to this side a little bit. but please do that. The washrooms, should you require them, are through that door over here to your right, our left. And I'm not sure we're going to have time for this, but there may be some additional individuals that would like to make presentations to council. The deputy clerk has some forms that you might fill out. If we don't have time, we can receive those forms and what you're writing as part of the correspondence for this meeting. So without further ado, I see that it has been moved by Councillor Junkin, seconded by Councillor Kersey. Be it resolved that the agenda for the April 25th, 2016 special meeting of council be adopted as circulated, including the addendum items listed therein. And I know that there is an amendment to that. Councillor Durling?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion to move item 5.1.14 up to 5.1.2. And the presenter for 5.1.12 is ill and not able to be here, so I'm asking that that be received for information.
Thank you very much. Is there a seconder for that motion? Councillor King? Okay, thank you. So to that amendment, all those in favor? Any opposed? That amendment carries. And now to the main motion as amended. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion carries as amended. Thank you. The next item is something we do at all of our council meetings, and that is disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. That is any conflicts of interest that any members of council may have. Do any members have any conflicts of interest that they need to disclose?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, can that be so noted that no members have any conflicts? Now we move to the agenda before us, and we have our first presentation. It's by Tim Nohera. It's called Local Government Perspective, and I would invite you, Mr. Nohera, to be here at the podium.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good job. Kicked off the agenda.
Thank you. Councillor Petrowski, can you please leave? You're disturbing the proceedings. Thank you very much. Thank you,
Registered as an agent, Kurt Harley's family.
Council, can the clerk please escort Councillor Petrowski out? Thank you. Thank you for your patience, Mr. Nohera.
Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Can you hold for a second? There's some more housekeeping on this one, and that is our presentations are limited to 10 minutes. And at 8 minutes, I may give you a kind of a high five or something like that to say that you're approaching that time period. And also, at this time, after the presenter, council may ask questions only. We're not looking for opinions at that time, but questions only. So thank you very much, Mr. Nohera.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can you hear me okay? And just to correct the introduction, it's a local business perspective, not a local government perspective. So my name is Tim Nohera. I'm the president of Accipiter Radar. Some of you may have seen our building up the hill behind us here, and thank you for welcoming. I'd like to give you a local business perspective with respect to the proposed Pelham Community Center. I live and work here in Pelham and have been here for many years. I love this community, like all of you here, and I want to see this community thrive culturally, but economically. So I'd like to talk about business as a business leader and a business's view to the proposed community center. Businesses help build up communities, and they reduce tax burden on residents, which is something most of us here are concerned about. Accipiter Radar has invested millions of dollars in Pelham since it arrived here in '95. And we've contributed to the community in a number of ways. And I'm only going to say these just because I want to illustrate what all businesses do in our community. Those who know me know I would not normally speak in this manner. We pay taxes at typically 3 times the residential rate. We maintain and improve our real estate. We invest in our local airport. We provide co-op jobs for local students, high-paying jobs for people of all demographics. We bring new families to Pelham. We have brought several. We support local businesses by buying local. We support our local facilities like our existing arena. We support local sports teams, including hockey, soccer, and basketball. We support local charities and school fundraisers. We support local groups, including scouts, robotics clubs, science fairs, theater. We support community events, including Summerfest, the Mayor's Gala, Font Hill Band Show, local firefighters, local chambers, and Legion. All businesses do this. As a resident for Pelham, we need more businesses that will find Pelham as a good fit. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, for allowing me to share what businesses like ours think about the proposed Pelham Community Center. Businesses won't start up here or relocate in Pelham unless they believe they can succeed here. Businesses succeed when they can attract and retain talented people. Now, talented people are mobile, and they can work anywhere. To work here in Pelham, they want to be confident that their families will be able to thrive here culturally and economically. Our Pelham Community Center, I would suggest to you, is a clear sign to this talent of the growing cultural vibrancy of our community. It's not only good for residents, it's good for business. If we don't believe in ourselves enough to invest in our own community when the time is right, can we really expect new talent and new businesses to do so? So I ask you, is the time right? As a business leader, I ask 3 questions on our investments. The first is, do we need it? Yes, we do. That's been well established through various consultant and staff reports spanning 2 decades that our council has received. Have we planned it well? Yes, we have. There have been broad-based community involvement over the past 3 years, coupled with professionals hired to guide the process and apply their knowledge and expertise where needed. The capital and operating costs are well established. I would suggest a framework for the oversight and controls should be established once the project is approved, if this hasn't been done already. The last question, and often for most of us the most important, is can we afford it? Amazingly, yes. We have generationally low interest rates. We taxpayers only need to pay 25% of the cost. For the average household, this is about a large Timmy's every other week. I commend Mr. Mayor, the council, and the volunteers who have put this package together. I would leave with you this one message. The time will never be better to build for Pelham's future. This is a once-in-a-lifetime community opportunity for us, and I'd urge you to go for it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nohara, for your presentation. For the local business perspective, do members of council have any questions for our presenter? Thank you very much, Mr. Nohara, for your presentation. Greatly appreciate it. It has been moved by Councillor Kersey, seconded by Councillor Junkin. Be it resolved, the council received the information presented today regarding the proposed community center submitted by Mr. Tim Nohara. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. Next on our agenda is Ms. Gail Hilliard, representing the Pelham Seniors Advisory Committee. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us this evening.
You're welcome, and thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council, for the opportunity to speak on behalf of the Pelham Seniors Advisory Committee as we talk about a community center to be a place for all generations. Currently, the percentage of seniors in Pelham is said to be about 20%, I'm sorry, about 3,200 people, significant number of voices in our community. Just a brief overview, the Seniors Advisory Committee held a forum in 2014 asking for input on behalf of seniors and what they would like to see in a community center. A follow-up forum was held in 2015, and also members and constituents have been encouraged to respond to every opportunity offered by mayor, council, open houses, etc. The wish list from the forums included a number of accessibility requests, including parking, elevators, etc. And design adjustments were made by the architects to accommodate some of those requests. The seniors spoke about wishes for a place for wellness activity, social activities, cultural activities, recreational activities, and informational opportunities, perhaps better described as a gathering place or a hub. And there's been a lot of comments about that, and I'll follow up with a couple in a moment. My comments are in no way to be considered data from a survey, but rather information from conversations that I've held in a number of venues, professional and business clubs, social interactions at social retirement places, and even a home show last week. And reflecting on what was said by the business community, there was a person there who's been serving this community for about 20 years, never participated in the home show, but his clients, some of them like me, are now getting older and moving into facilities and don't need the service that he's been giving. And he realized that the community has grown, and in some senses, the whole thing has passed him by. So he showed up at the home show to advertise his products so that he would in fact be known to people other than those who have had him. Just an example. From the forums and from talking to people, I've had an opportunity for the first time really to talk to new residents. I know lots of older residents, but these people have come from Erin and Acton and Tillsonburg and Thunder Bay and many other communities. They're primarily retired from professional and business communities. They've purchased homes in Pelham, and they're looking for a place to meet other seniors, including longtime residents, to participate in recreational activities, including the famous pickleball. If you read the paper on the 20th of April, you'll find that the Volunteer of the Year in Welland organizes pickleball tournaments to raise funds for young people. And I didn't know what pickleball is. I now know. Anyhow, these people talk as well about looking for a niche in Pelham. And when we ask what that is, it's a place to go, a place for them. They're talking about wanting opportunities for the proposed community center. And there is some disconnect in the understanding that this is not a recreation center being proposed with a multi-use room or space. It is a facility where all spaces will be available to everyone, an inclusive space. Scheduling and planning the use of this space has to be done in consultation with representatives of the residents of Pelham. Interesting example has just actually come out, and that is the establishment of the Pelham Cultural Advisory Committee. On the website, the advertisement, it's so timely, and as part of our goal of being advocates, we will encourage people to consider applying to the town to serve on that committee so that they can, in fact, contribute to the development of the center. Just for those of you like deadlines, the deadline is the 13th of May. I thank you for this opportunity again to, on behalf of the seniors of the community, to say that we want to be part of the project.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hillier. We really appreciate your presentation and certainly your participation on behalf of the Seniors Advisory Committee and involvement in the project. I wonder if members of council have any questions for Ms. Hillier. Thank you again for your work on this project and for your presentation. It has been moved by Councillor Durley, seconded by Councillor Ribbiak. Be it resolved, the Council received for information the presentation by Gail Hillier, representing the Pelham's Seniors Advisory Committee, and the Seniors representative on the Architectural Design Advisory Committee regarding the proposed Pelham Community Center. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you again. We did have a change in the agenda, and our next presenter is Mr. Cherney. Where are you here? There he is, representing the Niagara and Halton Building and Construction Trades. Thank you very much for joining us. I understand you have another meeting to attend, so we appreciate your involvement here this evening.
Thank you. Mayor Augustin, respected councillors, thank you for this opportunity. My name is Mark Cherney, and I'm the business manager for the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 303. We represent 400 skilled electrical workers across Niagara. I'm also here on behalf of the Niagara Haldeman Building and Construction Trades Council. Our group represents hundreds of skilled building trades women and men in Niagara, and that includes many who live right here in Pelham. Our members have been a contributing part of the Ontario workforce for 130 years. We represent skilled workers in construction trades like electrical, plumbing, bricklaying, drywall, ironwork, and a wide variety of other skilled trades. I'm here tonight to endorse and support the Town of Pelham and the proposal to build a new community center for its residents. Not only will we have members and their families that will enjoy the facility for years to come, I'm also here to say that if Niagara isn't building, we're not working. When our men and women are working, we're building Niagara's economy. When Niagara builds, when local workers build, we contribute to local businesses, local restaurants, local charities, and local sports clubs. When we build Niagara together, all of Niagara benefits. That's why, as builders and citizens, we are 100% behind building a better community for all of us. And we're here to show our support for the new community center project. We want to help you make this project a reality. We've learned a lot over the past few years about how important it is to invest in public infrastructure for our community. As a municipal government, you're an anchor institution in this community. Local business and skilled trades look to you for vision and leadership. There is an opportunity for the Town of Pelham to think beyond service delivery and start thinking in terms of the added economic impact of the whole investment. How can this project be maximized for its economic benefit? Investing in a new community center can be maximized because council is creating opportunity, not only for all the people who will use it, but for all the people who will build it as well. For our skilled workers, the benefits start with the first shovel in the ground. When you've got local people working to build the community, the economics and community benefit of the project make even more sense. As a council, you're investing in building your community, but that investment is going right back to the skilled workers right here in Niagara. Our members are your friends and neighbors. We live and work in Pelham and across Niagara. We shop at local stores, give to local causes, and our businesses employ local people. When you're making that investment, you're showing how an anchor institution can create local jobs and prosperity. This is the kind of project that will leave a lasting legacy. Residents all across Pelham will get years of use out of a new community center. You're getting a community hub here, something that will give families an option for staying active and engaged in their community and being able to do so close to home. Times have been tough lately. Our contractors are seeing the hollowing out of the construction sector. Too much of the institutional building is going to big out-of-town contractors, too often leaving the local subcontractors out of the work. This puts at risk the enormous economic spin-off benefits of local spending through local building. Projects like this give local contractors and subcontractors the encouragement that they'll have the opportunity to build the community they live in. For our highly skilled workers, it's exciting. It's showing local workers that council supports growth and strengthening the local economy and community. Voters chose you as town councilors because they believe you have the wisdom and vision to do the right for the town of Pelham. Council community vision because, like you, they want to build a better future for their families, their kids, and their grandkids. That's why we support putting a shovel in the ground and building Pelham's new community center. The ripple effect of this kind of investment goes far beyond the bricks and mortar. We're not just talking about a building here, we're talking about building lives and prosperity for the future. This project is a building block that will serve this town for years to come. As local skilled trades who live and work in the community, we're excited to be there with you. On behalf of my members, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, and on behalf of the Niagara and Haldeman Building and Construction Trades Council, we support this project. We support local economic development. We support jobs for our skilled workers. We hope council will support this project too. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cherney, for your presentation. Do members of council have any questions for our presenter? Thank you very much. It's a bit of a different perspective, so thank you for providing that. And I know that you have to leave for another meeting, so thank you very much for joining us this evening and presenting. It has been moved by Councillor Kersey, seconded by Councillor Junkin. Be it resolved, the council received the information presented regarding the proposed Pelham Community Center submitted by the Niagara and Haldeman Building and Construction Trades Council and the IBEW. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. And now back to our regularly advertised agenda. The next presenter is not in the special chair that the clerk provided for you, so I'm not sure if Mr. Barry Neeland is here. Mr. Neeland here? Going once, going twice, Mr. Neeland? All right, what I propose then, council, is perhaps we can receive the information. He did provide some written information for us. And so if it's okay with Councillor Durley and Councillor Junkin, I think the motion should be it resolved the council receive the information, I'm going to say provided, regarding the proposed Pelham Community Center submitted by Mr. Barry Neeland. I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. And that information was published and is available for the community and for council. Thank you. Next is Mr. McFarland. Thank you very much for joining us.
Mr. Mayor and members of council, I am not against building a new community center, but I am against overbuilding a facility and starting construction before the preliminary steps have been completed. Last month, the mayor said in council chambers that the community center project was shovel ready. The project is nowhere near shovel ready for the following reasons. One, the architectural design is at a concept stage, not a construction stage, as very few architectural drawings have been produced, and no drawings from the other design disciplines have been produced. The other part of the design is the specifications, and none of these have been presented. Secondly, a soils investigation specific to the community has not been carried out. Thus, the design of the structural portion of the building cannot be done because the soil bearing capacities are not known. Item 3, there are no contracts issued for the following design disciplines: structural, mechanical, electrical, civil, and landscape. Fourthly, the town has contracted a construction management firm to coordinate the construction activities, but who is coordinating the design activities? Fifthly, one of the main components of an arena is the refrigeration system, and the manufacturer of that system has not been decided. Therefore, major design issues cannot be addressed. Next, the project schedule presented at the open house on April 16th was useless because it only represented activities to September of 2016. I'm sure this was a decision by council because Ball Construction had previously tabled a complete schedule. A Ball Construction representative at the open house told me the construction duration was scheduled for 19 months. This will not likely be met, so the budget should be increased to include funds for extending construction duration, delay claims, legal fees, etc. Nextly, when speaking about budget, I hope it includes monies for Ball's fees on extras. Extras which I expect will exceed Ball's projection of the contingency of 2.5% of the estimated construction costs. I hope the approval of the extras will not be decided by a committee, but by no more than 2 people. Otherwise, the construction will most likely be slowed down, incurring more costs. Nextly, I trust the estimate includes monies for the review of drawings by a third party for the issuance of the building permit, because I don't expect there is a town employee capable of reviewing these drawings in the detail necessary for the issuance of a building permit. Nextly, I question the need for a 1060-seat arena, as the present Junior B hockey team won 1 game of 50 played. The total number of spectators for the season was reported to be approximately 2,700, according to league records. An average attendance per game of approximately 111. This does not justify a 1060-seat arena. I also question the need at this time for a 2-pad ice surface. If it were me, I would build 1 ice surface, but design for a 2nd ice surface to be added in the future if the need arises. This was the case in Ancaster. Based on my comments, I believe the mayor should have said he had his shovel ready, not that the project was shovel ready to start construction. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Do members of council have any questions for our presenter? Thank you very much for your presentation. It has been moved by Councillor Durley, second by Councillor King. Be it resolved, the council receive the information presented today regarding the proposed Pelham Community Centre submitted by Dave McFarland. I do want to clarify my comments about shovel ready. Perhaps I was a little anxious in terms of saying my shovel is ready, but that's parlance from the federal and provincial government looking for shovel ready projects.
Yeah, but they don't know what a shovel ready
Thank you.
project is.
Thank you. And projects that are available for funding, and their funding cycles are a little bit far out, more in keeping with this project. But thank you for pointing that out. I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. Next, we have representative from the Pelham Panthers basketball, Brian Bleach, and also a member of the Architectural Design Advisory Committee. Thank you for joining us, and thanks for your involvement on the committee.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, Town Council, Town Staff, members of the public, my name is Brian Bleach. I'm a resident of the Town of Pelham. And before you tonight is the Town of Pelham is about to vote on its largest project ever in the new Pelham Community Centre. I've had the opportunity to attend several meetings over the past 2 years. We're going to break up into 2 parts. One is being the president of Pelham Minor Basketball, and the second is being a member of the Architectural Design Advisory Committee. The mandate of Pelham Panther Basketball is to provide a positive, supportive environment for our youth to learn the fundamental skills of the game of basketball. Our goal is to develop athletes on and off the court in a fun learning environment. Our team of dedicated coaches work with children of any skill level from house league to select. This season, Pelham Basketball enrolled over 340 players in this house league and travel program. Players ranging from 5 to 17 years old. Majority of our teams ranked the top 25 teams in the province this season. And when I say this, unlike some sports where they play based on the population, we play head to head and it's based on a ranking at the end of the season. This year, our novice girls team, which are the grade 4 girls, won the Ontario Division 1 championship, which put them as the #1 team in the entire province. With the quality of basketball players and coaches we have in Pelham, Pelham Basketball is now offering spring and summer basketball programs ranging from introductory activities, from beginners to elite training for the more advanced. The Pelham Panthers offer the following programs for all ages. We have a spring league, which runs May to June, which is sold out the last 3 years and have a waiting list. We have a summer program that runs from June till August, which currently we have to go to Ridley College in St. Catharines because there's no gym space in the town of Pelham or Welland to handle this program. We also offer 3-on-3 basketball tournaments 2 to 3 times a year. We have a girls skills development program, a single night dedicated to girls only. Last year we had 110 register for this program. We have competitive summer teams that play out through the U.S. and Ontario and they train all summer. A summer camp for kids. We offer 1 week for both the boys and the girls. We also participate in Town of Pelham programs such as CHARADE Parade and the Street Fest Summer Ball 3-on-3. Pelham Basketball offers all these programs, but we are running out of gym space and we cannot provide the programs that we want to offer. A recent article dated January 5th, 2016 about the study on basketball facilities in Canada stated the following, and I quote, "The biggest challenge facing Canada in the next 10 years will be the lack of basketball playing or training facilities." This is to say that there's no attempt in finding new facilities, but to point out the issue of insufficient space and time needs to be addressed from a broader perspective. Only spaces available are often in high schools, middle schools that were neither built or designed for basketball. To make matters worse, not only is there a lack of gym space, but the facilities are too small to accommodate today's larger athletes. The proposed new community center will offer 2 high school-sized basketball courts, 4 elementary cross courts if you're to go across, divided into 4. And this will be the home of our association. To put it best, we are champions without a home. And this facility will put Pelham basketball on the map. The double gymnasium will allow us to host our travel teams, house leagues, spring league, summer training, summer basketball camps, all in one location. We'll also host weekend tournaments for all ages to showcase our home, or what some people with our association are calling the Panthers Den. This will bring people to our beautiful community and support local businesses. One of the questions I was asked during the open house is why 2 gyms? Our current allotment of gyms is E.L. Crosley 2 nights a week and Glen Green 3 nights a week in the town of Pelham. E.L. Crosley only gives us 4 time slots and in a high school size setting and 4 in a back gym, which is an elementary size setting. Glen Green gives us 6 slots, which are all elementary size courts. Currently, we are renting 12 different facilities from the DSPN and the Niagara District Catholic School Board. Many of these facilities are used multiple nights, such as Notre Dame and Welland, where we rent Tuesday to Friday from 6 to 9. This year, we've had to go to Thorold to rent gyms. On Saturday, our house league uses E.L. Crosley. We would move this house league to our new facility on Saturday mornings and use the double gym, giving the opportunity to use the 4 courts with baskets that lower and allow our 5 to 8-year-olds to have 8-foot nets. This is important when training younger children the proper fundamentals of basketball. How will Pelham basketball use other parts? In the summer, we could use the arenas that don't have ice in. We could host 3-on-3. Which is a rise in the sport of basketball. We could host larger camps by adding a couple of portable nets that the association would either rent or purchase from the DSPN. The multi-purpose rooms on the 2nd level. Our teams often host banquets, whether they're year-end or Christmas parties. Teams are always looking for a place to hold events. The association also year as executive and volunteers, plus referees for clinics for our younger referees just starting out. The list is endless for the uses of the multi-purpose room. Also, I've spoken with members of the Niagara Basketball Association, which is a adult men's league that runs throughout the town of, uses Pelham and Welland, have 20 teams. They've offered to come in and have their games 9 to 11 p.m., which is usually a time that most children are home in bed. And they would take up, and the town would generate more revenue through the rental fees from this program. Now that I've spoken to you about basketball, this is not just a basketball facility. I've met with the architect and had discussions with regards to safety, seating, and other issues and getting the maximum space for our dollar. The design of the double gym is a true double gym, a solid folding dividing wall between 2 gyms, which gives us the 2 high schools. Then you can drop down 2 more curtains, which would give you 4 elementary school gyms in total. The focus should be on our community, and it might say our aging community with several people relocating to the town of Pelham for retirement. The majority of those people lead active lifestyles. Just look at other communities around us and the demand for daytime fitness activities, fitness programs, badminton, pickleball, walk-a-block, parent-taught gym time, Zumba. The gyms will be available for these programs. There also could be after-school drop-ins for the kids. The list goes on and on. As a chance to sit on the committee, this is a very diverse group from the town of Pelham. I've heard their concerns. A couple of examples would be the service clubs. They talk about the lack of space to hold large fundraisers such as dance or concerts. Design makes this the largest hall in Pelham to host any of their events. Just the visual arts also looking for a place to hold their art shows. This will also be used the entire facility. Just last week we had our home show and our aging arena. The entire community center can be set to host the home show.
You're at a 2-minute warning.
Yep. Our local schools are always looking for large facilities, those graduations. They say they have the opportunity to use a second level multi-purpose room, or they need large area, they have the double gym. I submit to you, Mr. Mayor and members of council, that the town of Pelham is in need of a community center, and not only as a president of Pelham basketball, but as a resident of the town of Pelham, I fully support building this facility. The members of Pelham Panthers Basketball Association are committed to partnering with the town on this project, and have entered into a memorandum of understanding with the town as a major tenant. Thank you for your time, and gladly answer any of your questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bleach, for your presentation. Do any members of council have any questions for our presenter? Very complete presentation, and thanks again for your involvement on the committee. Many years and very active, so thank you very much for that. We look forward to seeing those Pink Panthers at our next meeting, the winners of the provincial. So it has been moved by Councillor Ribbiak, second by Councillor Durley. Be it resolved, the council received the information presented tonight regarding the proposed Pelham Community Center submitted by Brian Bleach. We're going to call the questions. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Thanks again. Next on the agenda are a couple of representatives from the Niagara Skating Club. Liz and Amanda. I'm going to get your names wrong if I say them incorrectly, so maybe you might say them for members of council.
Hi, I'm Liz Lemessurier. I'm Amanda Tech.
Thank you.
We're two of the professional coaches at the Niagara Center Skating Club, and we just wanted to speak about the lack of ice time that we have and the more ice time that we need. I've been involved with figure skating for 46 years. I work full-time at the Wellington Hospital and teach 5 to 6. And I also volunteer on the skating club because of the love of the sport and watching the skaters advance. I skated at a national level, senior ladies, and I am a level 2 certified coach and have my level 3 practical and theory in coaching, and as a gold level CEP through Skate Canada. At our club, I've been teaching for 35 years, and we teach can power, including high-level competitors who have won Western Ontario Championships, challenges, and skaters representing Western Ontario in Winter Games. I am very proud of all of my skaters and enjoy watching them learn and develop.
My name is Amanda, and I have coached for 10 years, and I'm currently the program director and coaches representative for the Niagara Center Skating Club. I studied physical education and education teaching at Brock University. I've taught over the last 10 years all levels of can skate and star skate, and I'm currently a level 2 and CCP certified coach and have a goals continued education program status. And it was brought to my attention just this past weekend, speaking with some members of the Niagara Skating Council, that one of the events that Skate Canada is talking about moving to Niagara is our adult national championships. This is an event that they want to make Niagara the permanent home for, because they feel it would draw adults across the country. So what adult skating is, it's 18 to 65-year-old individuals that compete. They have their own national level competition, and Niagara seems suited to be the long-term home for this event. Currently, I believe it's going to Fort Erie next year, and then after that, there really is no facility that will long-term be able to house this event. And then in speaking with some of the members of the Niagara Council this past weekend, they mentioned that what would be needed would be a twin pad and multi-purpose rooms to house our data input officials and judges and kitchen facilities. And this is an event that runs at the end of April.
So our club is one of the first of its kind in the Niagara region. We amalgamated with Welland and Pelham clubs coming together to better utilize our ice times, offering better ice availabilities. Our name changed to the Niagara Center Skating Club, which represents that we are in the center of the Niagara skating community. In recent years, we have grown as a club. Out of the 13 local clubs, our membership is over 300, the biggest in the Niagara region. We offer learn to skate, can skate, pre-power, can powder, power, and adult skating, star skate levels, and star skate competitive levels. We are sanctioned by Skate Canada and have many coaches and volunteers to help run our programs. Our main concern for the upcoming year is the ice availability. More ice. In the recent years, we have had our ice allocated to hockey clubs. To better serve our current and growing membership, we need to expand our programs. The only way to do this is to have more ice time available to us. We have plans to offer college and university students programs, and we would like to have more ice for our idle program. In the next couple of years, Skate Canada and Hockey Canada are partnering to promote Can Skate and Can Power programs as a prerequisite to joining any hockey team. This is going to boost our enrollment in the programs with our clubs, and we would like to have the opportunity to expand with them. Skate Canada has implemented a long-term athletic development program, which will include not only on-ice training, but off-ice to skaters at a very young age. The facility will provide the gym space and the walking track areas that will help our club provide the resources needed to our skaters. With the projected growth of our area and the increased local housing development, this facility can help our club offer many programs to the citizens in the community. Grade schools, high schools, college, university students, adults, and seniors would be all benefit from the use of this facility. Skating is a wonderful sport and has had many health benefits, and it would be a joy for us to be able to share this with our community. With this facility like this, our club could host competition, invite skaters from all over Ontario and Canada to use the facility, creating an increase in local business. Our club would also be able to offer a longer skating session to our skaters by providing spring, summer, and fall sessions, which our skaters leave the area to have to get their summer and spring ice times in. This new facility would definitely be a dream come true for our club and our membership. We would also like to have our main office in the arena, making it an enjoyable and easy accessible place for our members to communicate with us as well with the public. Last year, we had 3 out of our 4 Can Skate sessions full to max, over 50 skaters, and we actually had to turn some of our members away. And with the new facility, talking with the president, we would probably use the ice Monday to Friday from 4:30 to 8:30 ongoing. So that would be our dream, to have that available to us.
Thank you very much for your presentation and for your passion for figure skating. I wonder if members of council have any questions for our presenters. Thank you very much for your presentation. It has been moved by Councillor Durley, second by Councillor King. Be it resolved, the council received the information presented regarding the proposed Pelham Community Centre submitted by the Niagara Centre Skating Club. In favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you very much. Next on our agenda is Ms. Carolyn Botari. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. First off, I'd like to say I'm not in any way opposed to a new community center, but I would like to comment on what appears to me to be a lack of full openness and transparency regarding this proposed community center. In speaking with councillors, I've been told that several years ago, 1,600 residents were polled as to whether or not they supported a new community center. The majority were in favor. What this poll did not include, though, was the potential cost and scope of a possible center. At the time, residents were led to believe that there were provincial and federal grant monies available for such projects. Residents were never asked how much of their taxpayers' dollars they felt should be spent on this project. The figure of $36 million of this survey. Similarly, the town hired Intercom Smart Marketing and surveyed community members, and they found that 80% of the population of Pelham supports this project. What the town did not tell residents is that Intercom was given 100 names of potential financial supporters. Of these 100, for various reasons, only 25 responded. Of the 25 that responded, only 20 indicated potential financial support. To suggest that 20 of the original 100 asked equates to 80% of the population of Pelham is, in my opinion, very deceptive. In speaking with councillors, it seems that they, the councillors, are not aware of monies that have been raised in the last 10 years by minor hockey, figure skating, or the Junior B team to support a twin pad arena design. The town of Pelham, although they have been planning this project for 10 years, has not been putting aside funds, and to date does not have any funds in reserve in anticipation of building this complex. Town staff will be able to operate this building for no more than $200,000 a year. Staff and councillors were not able to tell me how many new employees would be needed to operate the complex. The beautiful design we have all had the opportunity to review and analyze, does not tell the whole story. The $36 million price tag does not include the landscaping of the property or the cost of the brick paver work around the exterior of the building. The actual finished cost of the community center will be greater, though no one at the open house was able to provide an estimate on these increased costs. It's been said that when someone creates a system in which you can't tell whether or not you're being fooled, you're being fooled. It currently costs approximately $11 million to operate the town of Pelham. The town is currently carrying about $4 million in development charge debt and $5.9 million in operating debt, for a total of nearly $10 million in debt. Over $400,000 of taxpayer money is presently being spent each year in principal and interest payments. Any other city or town would have funds in place before beginning any work on a project of this size. At this time, Town of Pelham staff are speculating on selling surplus lands in the next few years, hoping to secure millions through fundraising and dreaming of the millions of dollars in development charges that will be coming in. But as of right now, these monies are only possibilities. If construction begins this year, everything that is built must be paid for when it is done. Builders expect to be paid when work is complete, not when funds become available. Surplus land is presently not up for sale. The town has not received any provincial or federal government grants. Development charges are not being collected and fundraising has not begun. To imply that a mere $9.07 million debenture will be the only cost to the taxpayer for constructing this building is, in my opinion, a creative illusion. This will be the cost only if all the land is sold, full fundraising goals are met, and full development is realized to support development charges by the end of construction. Otherwise, it will be necessary to debenture or borrow millions more to pay the final construction bills. Town staff and council are prepared to spend $36 million of the people's money to build this community center. They're hoping to offset the cost by selling surplus lands for $12 million, collecting development charges for $12 million, and fundraising an additional $3 million. None of these scenarios is a guarantee. It's like playing the slots. If they're lucky, they'll hit the 3 sevens before they run out of quarters. In reality, 3 lemons may also turn up, and the taxpayers will be the big losers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Botari, for your presentation. Any questions for our presenter? Thank you very much. It's been moved by Councillor Ribiak, second by Councillor Durley. Be it resolved, the Council receive the information presented by Ms. Botari regarding the proposed Pelham Community Center. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. Next on the agenda is Mr. Winslade. Thank you for joining us.
Through his honor, the mayor, councillors, staff, and taxpayers. I'm just a senior taxpayer on a fixed income, and that sets the stage. You have designed an admirable complex suitable to a city, but not a small town. You should move it to the east side of Rice Road into Thorold. And the thing that is driving the project and financing the project is possible growth. Growth is not always good. Many of us live here because we cannot tolerate what growth has done to completely spoil Banesville, Grimsby, and we hope not here. We tried the other two first. We have to consider both needs and wants. We need a new arena, no one disputes that, with a single ice pad and a walking track to replace the old one that has been allowed to fall apart. Everything else in the complex is a want. The second ice pad, Business case is based on expectations of an unwanted junior B team and possible growth of minor hockey as opposed to every other town. Schools are blessed with gymnasiums. Meeting rooms are available in fire halls, the Legion, the Old Town Hall, and churches. Rental income will never cover the cost of these added facilities. I am very concerned about the cost and the financing scheme, based on growth, of course. Canada has too much debt, and we will be adding to it. The $9 million 30-year debenture is like a first mortgage. Principal and interest will be about $610,000 for year one. There's about $550,000 in the budget. The $12 million debenture is like a second mortgage, and council hopes to pay it off through development charges from unwanted development. The $12 million infrastructure loan is like a third mortgage. The high-risk payment plan for it is based on town property sales. Many feel that a municipality should not be in the land development business. And the $3 million from donations is like a bank overdraft until the donations might be received. Yes, I do have reservations, and I urge council to cut back to just what we need, a single ice pad arena.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Do members of council have any questions for Mr. Winston? Thank you very much. It has been moved by Councillor Junkin, second by Councillor Kersey. Be it resolved the council receive the information presented by Mr. Ralph Winsley regarding the proposed Pelham Community Centre. Thank you. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Next on the agenda is Mary Ann Stewart. Thank you for joining us.
Mr. Mayor, councillors, town staff, and fellow taxpayers, I'm not opposed to the building of a community centre. My concerns are how this has come about and the costs that we are going to face if this project is rushed forward. I know that there have been advisory committees, each with their own agenda. That's fine, but all of us who are paying for this facility should have been invited to give our input into what is going to be built and at what cost. We have already paid over $1 million in interest on the land, paid for consultant reports, none of which recommended a twin pad arena. So what has been proposed? Twin pad. This is contrary to the reports and doesn't consider the fact that hockey enrollment is dropping. But having listened to the figure skating ladies, with the decrease in hockey, that would over time increase more time for them. And it also doesn't factor in the government studies on our changing demographics. Believe it or not, we are an aging society. I attended the open house, was told that the $12 million worth of land is not yet up for sale because it is a process. We need to know what the process is, when it will begin, and when will the projected monies be collected. The development fees of an additional $12, again, when will that money become available, and how much of those fees can be used for this build without neglecting other areas of the town? In the meantime, how much more in interest financed by our taxes will be paid out to support this project? It wasn't all that long ago we were told that our community could not finance a project this large from other levels of government. As far as I know, to date, there is no money coming from the provincial or federal governments, but yet this project is being pushed through. The $36.2 million isn't the final cost, and there are always nearly always cost overruns on building projects. Besides that, landscaping isn't included. We need to know that cost and how it will be financed. Next year's tax increase, perhaps? The way the $9 million debenture was presented gave the impression that we would all pay a one-time tax increase of $46 and change on an average assessment. What it didn't make clear was that the one-time for the next 30. I don't know about you, but I will be 95 by the time this is paid off. We need to know what the current debt level is, We have 2 new fire halls. Are they paid for, or are they still being financed? Within the next 30 years, what else will we need? A replacement building for the operations center on Tice Road, a building, a new library to replace the Fonthill branch. Will some of the lands we're expecting to be sold instead be held for a new municipal building and or library? At the open house, there was a board explaining the cost of running the new facility. This showed a $200,000 shortfall between the actual cost and the expected revenues. There were breakdowns of what amount would be realized from each aspect, ice, gymnasium, space rentals. That's fine, but there was no explanation of how those amounts were calculated. No breakdowns of charges for ice rentals, gymnasium time, public space. A significant increase in those charges could seriously impact the levels of usage and enrollment, causing an even larger deficit needing to be funded. And the thing that irked me the most at the open house was being approached by a town employee who had a videographer in tow. They were looking for positive comments about the proposed community center for a video the town was having put together. Really, it shows how much our opinions are valued. I think it's time to back up, involve the people who are going to be saddled with this debt, have real town hall meetings where transparency isn't just a word. Meetings where we can work together to plan a community center that we can afford and also be proud to own. A center that has a balance between pure functionality and the extra costs of elegance. A center that has a balance between what we want and what we really need. Most of all, I think we need an affordable community center that has benefits for the entire population of Pelham. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Stewart, for your presentation. Do members of council have any questions for our presenter? Thank you. It's been moved by Councillor Ribiak, seconded by Councillor Durley. Be resolved that council receive the information presented by Mary Ann Stewart regarding the proposed Pelham Community Center. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. Now we have the 2 co-chairs, the 2 citizen representatives who served on the Architectural Design Advisory Committee, Yvette Young and James Federico. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Mr. Mayor, councilors, staff, thank you very much. Just by way of introduction, my name is James Federico. I'm a citizen appointee on this committee. What do I do for a living? I've got a building downtown Fenwick with my name on it. I'm a professional engineer consulting in the town of Pelham. I've also been involved in about $50 million of public sector construction in the last 3 or 4 years in Niagara. And this is Yvette.
Yeah, my name is Yvette Young. I'm also a resident, as you can tell by my accent, fairly new resident. I've been here 2 years, wanted to become involved in the community and this seemed an ideal way to do it. I'm also a construction professional. I'm an SO construction manager. Again, mainly in infrastructure works, probably from 50 million up. So this is kind of easily in my ballpark. And we wanted to offer our level of expertise as well as our opinions on local construction too.
So thank you for that. As citizen appointees, I'm going to go out on a limb and speak for Yvette and talk about our focus over the last 2 years. Breaks down to 3 things: inclusiveness, right-sizing the center, and bringing value. Talking about inclusiveness, I'm disappointed, frankly, in myself and maybe in our committee to hear people up here at this lectern talking about how they haven't been consulted. We had an election in 2014, had at least 40 hours of open meetings that were advertised through all channels, and it was the 15 members of this committee who were regular attendees. Maybe we didn't reach out, but I'm going to come up here and say that we did. We talked about the development of this center. We were handed a center 2.5 years ago, valued at about $29 million, with a single pad arena in it, with a workout gym, weightlifting gym, with stroller parking, with all kinds of little tiny rooms for, individual specified activities, as every interest group had got their word in there and said, we need a little bit of space for this and that. And our job really was to sit those people down and say, are your expectations really realistic? Do you have funding to rent the space out? And through that process, and part of it too was pushing back on the town, because we were using outdated information. Go back to the town and say, are your business plans really right? Do you have the right numbers? Through that process, another business plan was done showing more than full use for the twin pad. You know, poor Gail, we had a lot of discussion about and again, this was something that, yes, there's a lot of demand for it, but is it something we can afford? Can we afford to have a lifeguard there 24/7?
Mr. Federico would
Yes.
just ask you to use the microphone, so.
I feel like I'm using it, anyway. No problem. Okay. So we went out, you know, we talked to everybody we could, everybody in our circles. John, the 15 people on the committee, we became very boring dinner guests. It was all that we were really talking about. And we brought that feedback back. As I say, some people on the committee were disappointed, some people were happy. We really brought it back to a good balance. And that leads to how we right-sized the facility. Like I say, the initial plan was $29 million 5 years ago. Inflation happens. That plan 30 or more $million. It included not enough space for some activities and way too much space for other activities that there really wasn't a demand for. So we made everybody go back and show their math and show their long division and show us how they were going to use the center and eliminated those spaces we didn't need. And the last thing we really focused on was value. Why the twin pad? Why the twin pad now? The original plan was always to phase in a second arena when the demand was there. Well, one, we proved the demand was there now, and that report, that business plan, those hours are available on the town website. People are free to go look at them. I'm sure if they knocked on the door of Town Hall, they'd be provided a copy. We've heard since the second pad is available, figure skating is knocking on the door saying, we're going to use all your time. Poor Victoria nearly had a heart attack, I think, during that presentation. I've heard from AAA, they're ready to come in and use ice. The business plan is there, and those groups that come in are not subsidized by the Town of Pelham, and therefore represent a further reduction in operating costs of the center because the ice can be rented out for more money. And then why do we build that now instead of waiting a year or 2 years? Well, we get one crack at any provincial, federal funding that comes in. If we build this center now, and we don't do the arena, we get our provincial funding, we can't go knock on the door at Queen's Park again in a year or 2 years and say, yeah, you know what, we didn't build it the right size. Can we have a little bit more money? They're gonna say no, get your math right the first time. So we would carry, as Pelhamites, that whole burden rather than a half or a third or a quarter. The design also, you know, you guys have all been following this process, I'm sure. We started with a $29 million facility. It went to a $45 million facility, $54 million facility. That's ridiculous. The reason it did that was because of the phased design. We couldn't find efficiencies in the design. We had to build a whole community center spread out over one floor of the building, and then leave some walls that we could, you know, 2 years later knock down and punch holes in and throw all that stuff out so that we could build another arena. Pushing for that now, and Yvette and I did that. The reason we push for that now is because it brings value. It allows us to do that, to bring a much more efficient design, a much more user-friendly design now, and to deliver it cheaper than if we were to go to the phased construction. So that's kind of the why, the how we got here, and I think that's what a lot of people are focused on, for the what and the how. I just wanted to wrap up with a little bit of the why. 20 years ago, I was a high school kid. I was involved in an organization that was provincial student body, basically. It wasn't enough to be student council president. I had to go join a provincial organization. And I didn't grow up here, way out in the wilds of Haldeman, a little town called Empire Corners. And that provincial organization was mostly made up of kids from across. And as I moved around the province and lived in different places and worked in different places, it always kind of stuck with me. What a great town this must be, that a big provincial body like that, half of the kids on the provincial senate could be Crosby kids. And 10 years later, 12 years ago, I moved out here. And all those kids are gone. They took those leadership skills and they left. And they're building communities elsewhere. Why? Because what have we built for them? What's causing them to put down roots in this town as they, you know, here's where I do my heel turn, reveal my ulterior motive. I coach hockey in this town, the kids play. And Saturday mornings I'm at the rink, and there are 10 kids in there from 4 or 5 different schools, coming together, growing as a team, and putting down roots and building memories in this town. And if we don't offer them those facilities, when they turn 18 and they head off to college or university, they're not going to come back. And they're going to make, and they're not going to be there to support me 30, 40, 50 years from now when I'm on a fixed income and very concerned about spending and expenditures. Those residents aren't going to be there if we don't do something like this. So I'm probably about at the end. Thank you guys very much. Oh, there we go. Okay, good. I want to thank you guys very much for the opportunity. It was a long process. It wasn't really a difficult process. Sometimes it got a little heated, but you know, I'm very proud of the result that we came to and how we got there, and how much we were able to get in. So thank you again for the opportunity. On behalf of that, thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Hold on a second. There may be questions from members of council. There may not be, but let's see. Members of council have any questions for our presenters? Okay, thank you very much for your presentation and your passion and due diligence. It's been moved by Councillor Kersey, seconded by Councillor Junkin, be it resolved that information presented by James Federico and Yvette Young regarding the proposed Pelham Community Center. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. Next, we have some representatives from the Pelham Welland Chamber of Commerce, Ms. Dolores Fabione and Vern Milo. Thank you for joining us.
I think Ms. Fabione is staying in her seat.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, councillors, Pelham staff, my name is Vern Milo, and I'm past president of the Welland Pelham Chamber. Also a proud resident of Pelham. Our members are the local businesses which drive Niagara's economy, and they truly do drive our economy. Our members in the town of Pelham work hard to achieve success in their business ventures and to build a stronger community by creating jobs and prosperity for us all. Our members look to the Chamber of Commerce to help carry their voices to you and around the council table. As you prepare to decide on the important issue before us, the voices of our members have come out thoroughly clearly. The local business community supports the new community center for Pelham and encourages council to take strong action to ensure this community center is built. The business community has seen the positive signs of growth here in the community. We see it in new housing developments, both those already approved and those coming to the table. We've seen it in the plans to develop East Font Hill. We can feel it in the air and in the streets, in the sense of energy in the community. We know that this is a growing community with an enormous future potential. This new community center can only add to the sense of optimism and growth we feel flowing through our community. People want to live in Pelham. A new community center gives families the opportunity not only to live here, but to play here and socialize here, and to get to know each other better. It allows families and residents from all walks of life to enjoy the benefits of our community hub within the boundaries of their own hometown. Local businesses know that when you invest in a project like this, the benefits touch everyone in our community, from homeowners to business owners to families with children and seniors alike. The economic development potential of a new community center can't be overstated. Neither can the business case for a project like this. And we know that when it comes to infrastructure projects, what you as council put into the project is only part of the package. These projects can add as drivers of economic activity within our community. By pursuing these projects in partnership with the business community, you create opportunities for local businesses to contribute to economic and social prosperity. Many of our members offer the sorts of services that would benefit greatly from a venue like a well-equipped community center. That's true whether it's offering Zumba classes, providing fitness instruction, or something as Canadian as teaching young children to skate.
For businesses and enterprises like these, this community center represents an opportunity for growth. It's a new venue with new promise, and it should be an enormous added benefit to members of the business community who provide this sort of programming. It's vital that as we move forward with building a new community hub like this, that the business community is there as a partner with you to provide new services for our community. Our members want to help make this work. If this council has the will to build, you'll find that the business community is willing to partner to deliver high-quality programming for our residents. We encourage you to work with business to provide great programs at the new community center rather than duplicate what local businesses already provide. Our members know that South Niagara has enormous promise as a growth region. The potential is there for Pelham to continue to be a leader in smart growth and quality of life here in this project is shovel-ready and sustainable. Building a new community center makes good financial sense. It makes sense for the future of our community, and it makes sense to give local business a platform to grow and sponsor. As the voice of local business, the Chamber wants to see Pelham have every opportunity to grow jobs, prosperity. The Council has made it a priority to enhance the quality of life in Pelham as a key to future growth. We've seen this in recent investments in new and upgraded parks, in revitalizing downtowns of Fenwick and Font Hill. Council has also stepped up to the plate to support festivals like Summerfest. We hope you'll see fit tonight to support the Community Center for Pelham.
Thank you very much, Mr. Milo, for your presentation. Do any members of council have any questions for our presenter? Thank you very much, and I do acknowledge Ms. Fabiano in the back row and other members of the Chamber Board here this evening. As it has been moved by Councillor Junkins, seconded by Councillor Durley, be it resolved the Council receive the information submitted by Vern Milo, representing the Chamber of Commerce regarding the proposed Pelham Community Center. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. Next, we have Mr. Joseph Koss, who's here. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Mr. Mayor, council members and people of Pelham, my name is Joseph Koss, and I am here today to do my bit to promote a financially and sound construction of the community center on time and within budget. Its planning and design are completed, and I was criticized fairly and kindly by Mayor Dave by participating this late. I was asleep until I heard of the cost of $36 million without support by higher levels of government. Then I read it will cost only $49 per year per taxpayer. This is an example of asymmetric information, the greatest source of risk in any financial enterprise. To my mind, holy moly, here comes the tooth fairy. The information presented to people in Pelham contains a great deal of asymmetric information. I am concerned that council may not be adequately informed by the definite magnitudes and sources of the required funding for the acquisition and sustained operation of the proposed center. Yet, if council proceeds with this initiative without adequate fiducial responsibility, the town of Pelham may become subject to large financial loss. Fiduciary refers to trust. It is the trust voters assign to their elected representatives and the trust expected from their representatives. On both sides, trust is essential, and trust requires from both sides. To protect the council, the mayor, and the people of the town of Pelham, I suggest that we become acutely aware of the due diligence required in this matter, and suggest that the proposed financial arrangements be verified by an independent, respectable authority, an accounting with a mandate to determine the expected financial inputs and cost outputs on a year year-to-year basis for at least 10 years. Since such determinations are not of a definite nature, the firm should be asked to provide 3 sets of values, one representing the best possible scenario, another representing the worst possible case, and the third representing the most likely case every year in the opinion of the firm. The firm would probably propose a better method to give us the best possible information. I can supply the names of the top 30 such firms in Canada, and our cost would amount to approximately 50 cents per year to our tax burden. No legal effort should be spared in obtaining a contract or contracts that eliminate all possibilities of cost overruns. In view of the fact that at least $36 million and the well-being of 16,000 people in the town of Pelham, there is no excuse for shirking our fiducial responsibilities in this matter. That the start of construction might be delayed from August to perhaps March of 2017 is of little consequence in view of the huge possible losses due to a lack of due diligence. March 2017 would also ensure that most of the construction, at least the outer shell, could be carried out in the summer months when construction costs are usually lower. Of course, this is not to the advantage of construction companies who would like to employ their workers during winter when work is not as plentiful. Well, I hope my suggestions here are taken into consideration and that they help to result in a community center which will not only be profitable but enjoyable by everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Haas, for your presentation. Council, have any questions for our presenter? Thank you very much. It has been moved by Councillor Junkin, second by Councillor Durley. Be it resolved that Council receive the information submitted by Joseph Cost regarding the proposed Pelham Community Center. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. Next on the agenda is Ms. Victoria Morrissey, who's representing the Pelham Minor Hockey Association. Thank you for coming and presenting.
Mr. Mayor and Town Council, I stand before you today representing Pelham Minor Hockey Association and the over 400 participants that enjoyed one of the greatest sports experiences in Canada. Our message that we wish to convey is simple. We say yes to the proposed community center. Pelham Minor Hockey's mission is to provide the opportunity for all of Town of Pelham youth to participate in ice hockey. We encourage good sportsmanship, integrity, a feeling of responsibility towards the fellow members and the community. We offer programs focused on fun, fair play, and a dedication to teamwork. Minor hockey in the Town of Pelham is entering its 50th season. We have a very successful program and, unlike what most people would like to say, a very consistent membership. We average 28 teams ranging from ages of 4 years old to 18 years old. As many of you are aware, our current facility is subpar at best. There's a lack of proper heating, a lack of space and proper washroom facilities and restrooms. We have poor accessibility. We have poor facilities for our parents, our grandparents, and for our fans to come and watch and cheer on our players. Most of all, there's a lack of ice. At some levels, we are at capacity and we must turn away players. Many of our groups must practice early mornings, weekdays. Every day we use the 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. ice time slot before school. This is problematic for some, and those potential members therefore cannot participate in Pelham Minor Hockey. We cannot offer any additional programs, nor can we host any additional tournaments. We are using a lot of ice in additional facilities outside of Pelham. We rent from Ridley, Gale Center, we go to Port Coquitlam, we use more ice in Wainfleet now than we ever have before. We have teams that practice and play games in other arenas. That has become their home arena. In looking into the past, I have 50 years of our meeting minutes from Pelham Minor Hockey, and that has been a common theme. Once you hit a certain age group, you no longer play in Pelham. See the new Pelham Community Center as an exciting and well-designed multi-purpose facility that incorporates the needs of many users across multiple generations. It is an inclusive gathering place for all community members to enjoy, to participate, and to celebrate our recreation and cultural activities. The new double pad facility will be our new home that we can all be proud of. It will allow us to accommodate all our teams and bring Pelham Minor Hockey together under one roof. It will give Pelham Minor Hockey the ability to improve on our current programs, to promote additional programs that our members are currently leaving town to participate in. We can promote girls hockey, and we can expand programs that we can offer to all. A double pad arena will keep players and their families local and provide more opportunities to our citizens to participate in hockey in our hometown. This complex will also allow us to host prestigious events such as the International Silver Stick Tournament. This is a major event that attracts up to 80 teams from across Ontario and the United States. It provides our community members the opportunity with our friends in the United States and across Ontario and to showcase our community. We currently host this event, however, we do so in St. Catharines and Niagara Falls. We do not have any of our games in Pelham. This new facility has been a long time coming, with much planning, community input, town meetings, and it is a very positive move forward in the community. Pelham Minor Hockey is thankful to the mayor, the town council, and staff for its vision that they have in creating a much-needed community center, a home where we can all celebrate our champions at every level. Pelham Minor Hockey strongly supports the new community center. We believe if you build it, more will come to play. This will be. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Morrissey, for your presentation. Do members of council have any questions for the president of Pelham Minor Hockey? There being none, thank you very much for your presentation. It's been moved by Councillor Durley, second by Councillor Kersey. Be it resolved, the council received the information submitted by Pelham Minor Hockey Association regarding the proposed Pelham Community Center. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. Next on the agenda is a presentation by Mr. Gary Chambers, former Citizen of the Year. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Chambers.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, council, staff, and taxpayers. I want the input of the previous speakers that would allow me to be concise. Pelham residents were pleased with the mayor's embrace of the value for money audit at the regional level and his belief, of more transparency in its use. This process, when properly followed, would benefit Pelham's largest cost project to date. Unfortunately, many constituents are concerned with current transparency. Concerned citizens are not a naive group. They know what they need, they know what taxes they can afford, and they recognize financial concerns in the current funding strategies. A suggested deterrent of decision would provide time for a clear financial approach. No one wants a monument to overspending as their legacy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chambers. Do any members of council have any questions for Mr. Chambers? Thank you very much. It has been moved by Councillor Kersey, second by Councillor Junkin. Be it resolved, the council received the information presented by Mr. Gary Chambers regarding the proposed Pelham Community Center. Thank you. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. Now the clerk has some information, Madam Clerk, regarding our next presenter.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. I have received information that the next presenter would like to withdraw his presentation. He will cede to the next presenter.
Thank you. I think he states here on an email that his concerns have been addressed by earlier speakers, but I propose that we receive it. So if it's okay with Councillor Ribbiak and Councillor Durley, I think we should amend the motion to say that Council receive the information provided by Mr. Alan Morgan regarding the proposed Pelham Community Center. Okay? Can I call the question on that? All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Next on the agenda is Mr. Bill Heska. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Heska.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council, and staff, and taxpayers. I've been a resident of Pelham since 1982. I worked in industry and engineering for 40 years, and been watching in Pelham this community center, or the arena, for many years. My two sons played hockey in the arena for probably right from tight to bantam, and now they're off in both working in engineering careers outside of the community because there's no work back in this area of Niagara. The community center has always been a talk over the years, at least 30 years that I can remember. It's been talked about. What can we afford? Where can we build it? Back in 2005, we bought the property there in East Fawn Hill, and now there's the proposal of a new community center to be built in that area. I'm not opposing the community center, but I want building a facility that's what the taxpayers need, from young to old, and what we can afford. A lot of discussion has been made by the different groups relative to the needs in terms of the user groups and that. Hockey, yes, but one of my major concerns is we've got teams that are, a lot of our own are being forced outside the community because of minor hockey, or teams being brought in. Like minor hockey, or the Pelham Panthers, brought into the community, kids that have to go to Wayne Street to practice and play games. I'm not going to focus on that. I want to focus on the financing part of it. The debenture of $9 million, which is over 30 years interest. Yes, that's the first mortgage basically. There's $3 million that's being talked about in terms of donations. Yes, donations, which will be forthcoming. From where, whether it's business or residential, Font Hill is not a industrial town. Font Hill is a residential community. And I think that has to be realistically thought of and understood by everybody, that it's a residential community. My big focus will be, right now, is on the finances relative to the presentation that was made in the brochures that were handed out and mailed out. In there, there's the $3 million for fundraising debenture, that's $12 million for the two. Two other portions, which are over $12 million each, are shown as 3/4 of the pie, which I don't know why that would be, but that's just the way it was presented. But I have a real concern in terms of the development charges. I sent notes to the mayor, and I got a reply back from him saying that relative to the development charges will be paid on all new development over the next 20 years as a standard. The DC will also pay for the interest. Well, I've done a little more homework, and I received from the treasurer a report which is done by Watson & Associates, which supposedly is the meat of what the $12.138 million, and in there it outlines how the development costs will be reconciled or realized by the town. Based on the information, it's over a 25-year period in 5-year increments. In the first 5 years, from 2014 to 2019, there's a net recoverable development charge of just under $700,000. 2019 through 24, there's just a little under $1 million. So that means in the first 10 years, you're going to recover in development charges only $1.6 million. in this report, you say 12.2 million are coming for development charges. 84% of the development charges will be realized in the years 224 through 2039, over a 25-year period. In the report by Watson and Associates, they actually stipulate that interest costs would be in addition to the amounts realized above, noted above. It doesn't take a mathematician to work out that $12 million at 3.42%, in 1 year the interest charges alone are $415,000. So my concern to the town council is, do you understand the financing, the development charges? Have you been given the information to understand how you're going to pay for it, or that we're going to pay for it, or for it? So that's the development charges issue. The second issue is the sale of surplus lands. Based on what is presented by the meetings I've attended, council and committee of whole meetings and that type over the last months, there's a total of $12 million to be realized from the sale of land. And in that, there's 19 acres to be sold, $100,000 an acre. When I was at the open house, they've sold some land for $375,000 to, which has already been sold, part of the 32 acres. My concern is, how is that cash flow going to be realized? It's not sitting there to be available in the fall, if things go on for your schedule of the occupancy in 2018, when the complex will be built. That's when you're going to have to pay for this stuff. It's not going to be the contractors and everybody is going to want, and the architects are going to want to be paid in a timely manner within 3 to 6 months after their services. So my concern has the financing of the community complex being clearly defined by the CEO and treasurer to all councillors, clearly understand, and do councillors clearly understand the risks and the costs. What are the contingency plans if the development costs and funds are not realized? The community complex is stretching the town's finances to limits governed by legislation, and they still must be able to maintain current financial budgets. The citizens of Pelham want a rational, impulse decision to be made on the CC based on the community complex based on a totally transparent financial justification. The history of sports and community complexes in the Niagara area are in the media because of annual financial burden and shortfalls to original justification. For sports complex in Welland, the Dale complex in Niagara Falls, the Gale Center in Niagara Falls, the fourplex in St. Catharines, they all have major financial shortfalls. The presentations we've been given, most cases here, at least here, are, I'd say, marketing and salesmanship. It's not the financial part of it, which is what citizens want to see fully. Transparency is a necessity, and as somebody has suggested already, I strongly feel that a financial audit needs to be done to ensure that what is being proposed is reasonable and it's achievable. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Heska, for your presentation. Do members of council have any questions for Mr. Heska? Thank you very much for your presentation. It's been moved by Councillor Ribiak, second by Councillor Durley. Be it resolved the council receive the information presented by Bill Heska regarding the proposed Pelham Community Centre. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. We appreciate everybody's patience here. There's two more presenters. We have next Mr. Stephen Kaiser. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Kaiser.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council, staff, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here tonight to share my perspective regarding the proposal to build a community center on land owned by the town in East Fonthill. My thoughts are shaped by a number of different experiences that I've shared with council and the people listening this evening. I guess I somewhat date myself when I say that I've lived in the town for over 50 years. Having said that, my opinion on this venture is no more valid than someone who's lived in this town only a short time. We all share an equal right to an opinion, and it's those thoughts, coupled with the facts, that will help council make a decision this evening. Much of the debate I've heard is focused on the two arenas, and not the most important facet of my mind, the community center. So let me talk first about the two arenas. Some of you on council will recall the story I like to tell about when I was a young boy, walking through the snow, carrying my hockey bag and stick in the early morning hours to the Fonthill Fire Hall, which was located on Pelham Street, across from the Meridian Community Center. There, waiting with their cars for a group of young hockey players to go to the Welland Arena to play hockey in what we called the Dawn Patrol, was drivers such as Mr. A.K. Wig and Mr. Glenn A. Green, two former great men of our town. That was the start of hockey in Pelham, as I remember it. Then we moved on to a new ice surface in the bowl or pit, as we called it, located in the now where the pool and new skateboard park is in Fonthill. That outdoor rink served us well for some time. I recall the referees stopping the games so both teams could come and clear the freshly fallen snow. Sometime after, the town built the current arena. That too was a debate in the community. However, a plaque inside the building notes the many people who contributed to build it and make it the focus of many good memories for the residents of this town. Both of our sons played hockey there, many friendships that carry on today. Actually, Bill and I know our sons played together. My interface with the discussion of the land purchased by the town of Fonthill and the Fonthill East lands and the building of the community center has many different aspects. The first I recall was lunch with Mayor Levins over 10 years ago, where he sought my thoughts of a potential purchase of the 32 acres by the town. Mayor Levins wanted to be sure that the town was not overpaying for the property and that the investment was something that would bode well for the future of Pelham. I told him I thought it would be an excellent investment for the town, and I hold true to those words today. Shortly after, in 2004, I was asked to chair what was then called the Community Center Ad Hoc Site Design Steering Committee, a long name. It was composed of 6 citizen appointees, 4 members of town council, and 4 members of town staff. The initial meeting of the committee was in November of 2004, and we met regularly until February of 2006. Our task was to recommend a site for the town to build a community center and what amenities should be included in that center. We toured facilities in other communities, met with a host of various interest groups from across the town, conducted an in-depth analysis of the town's land holdings and the state of the current arena on Hay Street. In the end, the committee made the recommendation to council that they should build a twin pad arena coupled with a 10,000 square foot community center on the site we are debating this evening. That recommendation came 10 years ago after an extensive process by a very diversified committee. My personal work is largely focused on land development. Much later, I met one of my current clients, the Allen Group, who are co-developing the site with the town on Highway 20. I worked with the Allen Group and 3 other large land developers to bring the Fonthill East secondary plan through process along with the town and set the stage for a whole new area in our town, an area that is well designed, pedestrian friendly, and will accommodate between 6,500 and 7,500 new residents and jobs combined over the almost 500 acres. I'd like to share some thoughts on the community center. We had a community center some years ago in Pelham. It was the old Davis Hall, which was located on Hay Street north of Highway 20. It was formerly a barn on the then Davis property and was donated to the town. The roots of Davis Hall stem from those two men I referred to earlier, Glenn Green and Art Wig. In a story relayed to me by Ron Levins, it was those men who took a group of young men from the town equipped with sledgehammers and eye protection to knock down the concrete stalls in the barn and set the stage for the new community center. The old building served us well for a number of years. Stories of regular dances where adults would come dressed up and dance to the music of some well-known bands, and told even Chubby Checker played the venue. Eventually, Davis Hall became too old to function as a community center, and we lost that asset in our town. For the last few years, I've been working with my client, the Allen Group, to bring forward a plan of subdivision we are co-developing with the town, the site of the proposed community center. The fact that we are co-developing comes from the reality that we need to share certain aspects of the development based on the mutual road, Wellspring Way, the common intersection at Regional Road 20, and two stormwater ponds that service both properties. Although not involved in the town's community center plans, we have been at the table for discussions with staff due to the issues that impact both properties and the development. I've watched closely the evolution of the plans we are discussing this evening. The town has been methodical in their direction, in the studies undertaken, and the consultants retained to get to this point of the process. All of these efforts have been focused towards building a facility needed in this town for some time. The community has been consulted, the architecture is incredible, and the past experience of the town's construction advisor related to facilities is well documented. My client, the Allen Group, is ready to build 80,000 square feet of commercial on Highway 20. In fact, we are currently in for building permit. We are working also to create a successful health center and seniors home in the same plan of subdivision. All of these initiatives will be enhanced by the commencement of construction of a community center. The large number of acres in the secondary plan that await new homes for new families in the town will also benefit as the absorption rate changes as a result of this new facility. More new homes and more new construction in the town over a shorter period of time means more development charge revenue and a stronger assessment base for the town. Our mandated commercial study for the secondary plan clearly indicated that this new growth will also be beneficial for the existing businesses in the town, as this rise in commercial activity will have positive impacts across the board. From my personal perspective, I believe we will all benefit with this new asset in our community, and it will add value to every home in the town. The town will become an even more sought-after place to live, directly impact home property values positively. Let's talk about the numbers.
2-minute warning.
Thank you. Let's talk about the numbers. I don't think there are a lot of people in this room who want our property taxes to go up. I would be in that show of hands. Having said that, I believe there are certain initiatives that are worth reaching into our pockets and supporting. This unique presented to us this evening is one of them. Do I believe the revenue projections are exact? The answer is no. Having said that, I've never made a business decision in my life on exact revenue projections. I've done research and made decisions based on realistic expectations. Some of the revenue amounts forecast by the town may not meet the current projections. However, there is certainly room for new funding dollars that have not been factored in at this time. I am confident that the community center is a good investment for a host of reasons that I've noted, and financially, I believe we will be able to make it work. Critical for us all tonight is that if council moves forward to build this facility, we join together as residents of the town in a goal of doing something really special for the community. We need to come together in the spirit of people like Art Wig, Glenn Green, along with previous politicians, community groups, citizens, and this council, who together believe that this facility will be a fundamental cornerstone to the vibrant future of our town. The town of Pelham is a great town. This endeavor will allow us to become an even better community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kaiser, for your presentation. Almost right on time. We have 15 seconds. Do members of council have any questions for our presenter? Thank you very much, Mr. Kaiser. And as you spoke about Mr. Glendon Green and Mr. Akiewicz and others, I saw some nodding their heads through the crowd, so thank you for that. It's been moved by Councillor King, seconded by Councillor Durley. Be it resolved, the council receive the information presented by Mr. Stephen Kaiser regarding the proposed Pelham Community Centre. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. Last but not least, Mr. John Nickel, who's diligently chaired the Architectural Design Advisory Committee. Mr. Nickel, thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you so much, Mayor Augustine. Mayor Augustine, members of council, staff, fellow citizens of Pelham and Niagara. My name is John Nickel. I live on Millbridge Crescent in Font Hill, and I've had the privilege of serving as the chair of the Architectural Design Advisory Committee, or commonly referred to as ADAC, since our inception on August 7, 2014. Not everyone in attendance or the viewing public may be aware that the 15-person committee was appointed by council, and I give council tremendous credit for bringing together such a wide variety of individuals. I personally did not know one member of the committee when I arrived, but I was very taken by the dedication, the competencies, the skill sets, and the interests that they had, not only in their own particular group, but looking for what is best for the community of Pelham. The committee itself, as I mentioned, was made up of 15 people appointed by council and representing the community at large, as well as 12 members representing various organized associations, groups of the community. I would ask at this time, because I believe strongly in recognition, that the members of the committee tonight so stand. Thank you, and thank you for serving. The council approved purpose of the ADAC committee is to, quote, provide advice and input into the architectural design of a new multifaceted community education center to both the architect of record, who's Petroff Design Consultants, and the mayor and the council of the town of Pelham. We wish to express appreciation to council for allowing us to serve on this most significant project. We held 18 formal committee meetings representing some 40 hours of deliberations, and with the agenda and minutes published by the very competent of the town. All those minutes are found and agendas are on the website. In addition, we held a number of subcommittee meetings. Council also invited a number of members of the ADAC to participate in special committee of the whole council meetings on various issues to, again, ensure that we did the proper due diligence and had a design that would meet the needs of the community today, but for the next 25 to 50 years. Applicable ADAC members also met with their club executive representatives to give updates on the progress of the project, and most importantly, seek the input and advice of issues affecting the design of a multifaceted community center. We wish to again express appreciation to council and Petroff for taking all of our recommendations and suggestions into consideration. And we are very pleased with the current design that is being recommended tonight. Notwithstanding the fact that members of the ADAC came with very different interests and skill sets, we all believe the community center must ultimately reflect an attractive, welcoming, multifaceted structure designed to promote and sustain the needs of the town's recreational, cultural, and social groups of all ages, now and for the next 25 to 50 years. Consequently, we sought to recommend an acoustically superior center that allowed for program flexibility and revenue generation. We were also cognizant of Council's 2013 Cultural Master Plan and the center to be more than just a sports center, but to allow for the accommodation and range of cultural and volunteer groups in senior social gatherings used to in a large multi-purpose room for different activities during the day and evenings. We are pleased that the recommendation before you tonight contains an appropriately sized multi-purpose room, and that the originally proposed 4,000 square foot exercise room has been eliminated from the recommended design. The proposed center is recommended as a vibrant building that will be an accessible gathering place for all community groups and all ages to engage in a multitude of activities for both the morning and evening events. A number of ADAC members have already preceded me and spoken tonight on both hockey, seniors, basketball, and also our 2 members at large. But I was also asked by one of our members who didn't appear as a delegation tonight to emphasize again that there is a group here that also represents the seniors and hockey, that the proposed center will attract seniors from Pelham and across Niagara, including shinny hockey leagues, who will use the time during traditionally non-active times in arenas. On a personal note, my family came to Niagara 25 years ago, and I was quite surprised at the time that we had the opportunity to live in any of our 12 municipalities here in Niagara. And the CAO at the time said to me how surprised he was that we were looking at either North St. Catharines or Pelham. And he said, particularly Pelham, he said, if you move to Pelham, your children are 3 and 5, you'll find you're going to be driving all over Niagara for their various activities. And I was quite concerned about that, and I'm pleased to say that to the credit of this community, that wasn't the case, that we enjoyed dance and basketball and numerous activities here at home. But there also comes to a time that I think we have to appreciate that communities grow. And this community has significantly grown over the last 25 years. The caliber of individuals, citizens we have here, through leading seniors, through volunteer groups, from one of the best community seniors groups of volunteers anywhere in Niagara, they deserve a center. They deserve a place to come to. Council is aware of the fact that we're very fortunate with the caliber of our athletes. In fact, my son, who I mentioned, his grade 8 class, 2 fellow class champions in last summer's Olympics from St. Alexander School. So again, the caliber and the needs are there. And I can't say enough how a multi-use purpose center is so needed for our great town to flourish not only today, but for future years to come. On behalf of the ADAC committee, we unanimously recommend council approval of the proposed design of the multi-purpose community center. And Mr. Mayor, I'd be pleased to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nicol, for your presentation. Do members of council have any questions for Mr. Nicol? I too want to add my appreciation and thanks on behalf of council colleagues for your leadership as chair of the Architectural Design Advisory Committee and members that are here and those that couldn't make it here this evening. Tremendous work over the last number of years on this facility. So thank you very much.
It's been our pleasure.
Thank you. It has been moved by Councillor Durley, seconded by Councillor Junkin. Be it resolved, the council received the information presented by Mr. John Nicol, Chair, Architectural Design Advisory Committee, regarding the proposed Pelham Community Center. All those in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. Thank you again for your presentation. I don't think any other presenters have signaled that they, with the deputy clerk, that they want to present. And we have a fair range of comments. So what I propose, members of council, is that we move to the next phase, which is correspondence, if that's okay. Thank you again to each of the presenters. I do want to add and say that it is a difficult process, a difficult thing to do to make a presentation, a formal presentation in front of an audience of peers and council. And I, on behalf of council, greatly appreciate each of the presenters for making their presentation. It is difficult. You might have been nervous. It didn't show. But thank you very much for that. Now we move to correspondence. It has been moved by Councillor Junkin, seconded by Councillor Kersey. Be it resolved, the council receive the correspondence submitted by individuals expressing concerns or opposition and support to the proposed Pelham Community Center as listed on the agenda for the April 25th, 2016 special meeting, and that council will be directed to respond to those as required. Any questions or comments regarding any of those items of correspondence? So essentially with this motion, council, there were some questions in some of the items, and I was speaking with another staff today. Those questions will be responded to by each of those individuals that did put questions forward. So we're ready for calling the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. That motion is carried, and we look forward to staff working on those answers. Thank you. Move to consideration of staff reports. There were 3 reports published with the agenda, and there's also an addendum item, which is that item of correspondence regarding development charges. So we're going to deal with these in the order that they were presented. It's been moved by Councillor Kersey, second by Councillor Durley. Be it resolved that the construction and operation of a multi-use facility known as the Pelham Community Center be and is hereby authorized and approved at a total estimated cost not to exceed $36,204,777. And the council hereby approves Ball Construction as the project manager during the construction of the Pelham Community Center. And the council hereby approves Petroff Partnership Architects, Inc. as design consultants during the construction of the Pelham Community Center. And the council hereby approves Intercom, Inc. to conduct the next phase of the fundraising campaign to completion. And that council hereby approves the creation of a reserve account for the Pelham Community Center, and that staff be directed to continue monitoring the provincial and federal governments for the availability of grants for the construction of the Pelham Community Center, and to make applications when those grants are announced. And that staff be directed to prepare a report including recommendations surrounding best practice for overseeing and monitoring the project, including but not limited to regular reports to council that include the project manager updates, to ensure that the project stays on time and on budget, and that such report be presented to a special meeting of council to be convened prior to the end of May 2016, and that staff be directed to prepare the necessary bylaws for council consideration on May 2nd, 2016. So that's a lot involved in that motion, and certainly there's a report that accompanies this motion. Do any members of council like to comment on the proposal before us? Councillor Junkin.
Yes, to you, Mr. Mayor, fellow council members, and senior management staff, and the assembled taxpayers of Pelham. Excuse me for a minute. I will be not voting to support this motion, and I would like to explain why this is. Like the majority of people in the town, I believe that a community center is required. But like a majority of people, I feel quite strongly that to construct a second ice pad at this point, to make it this part of the state, and I feel the town will regret in future years. Here are my reasons. The consultants hired by the town to review the town's recreational needs made many recommendations, and one of those was, and I quote, "Build one ice pad first, contingent on capital financing, and construct the second ice pad should the sustaining demand develop." The key word here is sustaining. They realized that to build a second ice pad without a guaranteed high level of usage could turn out to be a financial disaster. Whether an arena is rented out 5 hours a day or 15 hours a day, the huge operating costs stay the same. Town staff, realizing this reality, have built a business plan that, among other things, calls for bringing teams from outside the town to bring ice rental hours up to an acceptable level. As a taxpayer in the town, I find this solution to be totally unacceptable, being used to build an ice pad so that teams with no ties to the town can come here to play, so that we as a town can say, look at us, we have a twin pad. These teams will not be playing at 11 o'clock at night. They will require prime time ice. I've heard from those who say that the town will need the extra ice as we grow. I believe this is a false argument when I review two pertaining documents. One is a demographic study done by the Niagara region that states that by the year 2031, there will be 500 fewer people living in Pelham than there will be in the town in 2021. The same document states that by the year 2031, 34% of Pelham's population will be between the ages of 55 and 74. The other fact that is of interest can be found in a Toronto Star newspaper article that stated that while the province's general population grew by over 100,000 people between January 1st, 2014 and July 1st, 2015, enrollment in minor hockey in the province declined by over 4,000. This can be seen to be true as other nearby minor hockey associations have had to amalgamate their minor hockey programs as their hockey numbers have fallen off. All winter long, I have had a gentleman by the name of Jerry Drax, a former past president of Pelham Minor Hockey Association, and a person who still referees throughout the region, phone me up at least once a month, telling me not to support a twin pad and how, in his opinion, the idea was simply ludicrous. Marv, he would say, there is a huge surplus of ice to be rented in the Niagara region. Pelham Minor Hockey gets this ice at a discounted price, and surely Welland, no Wainfleet, can hardly be thought of as faraway destinations. End of quote. And that is my next point. Pelham is surrounded by other towns that have facilities that people in Pelham travel to use on a daily basis. I myself travel to St. Catharines at least once a week to go swimming at the Kiwanis Center. Would I like an indoor pool in Pelham? Yes. But do I want one in Pelham? No. Because the daily operating cost of such a facility is enormous. And why should non-swimmers in Pelham be asked to pay for such an expensive facility when one is located 15 minutes away? The point being, is it really such a hardship for a small group of people to have to drive 15 minutes outside the town to pursue the sport of their choice? I cannot find it written anywhere where it is stated that the town has the responsibility to provide for 100% of its citizens' recreational needs. And lastly, I am concerned, as many, about placing such a huge debt on the town of 6,500. Nowhere in the final picture presented is there a reference to the interest payments that will have to be paid, either as we await the sale of property, which could take as long as 10 years or longer, or as we await the collection of development charges, which could take as long as 20 years or more to collect. I'll say it again, that my biggest concern is that the taxpayer would be forced to pay huge operating subsidies on a structure that is not needed by town taxpayers. There are few things more depressing than to see a beautiful sheet of ice with no one on it. And if you listen intently, you can hear the 40 horsepower running the ice machines, consuming high-priced electricity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Junkin, for your...
Ladies and gentlemen, please. Ladies and gentlemen, please.
Thank you, Councillor Junkin. Council would like to speak to the motion before us. Councillor Powell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council, citizens, and staff.
Can we
Sorry.
We'll mic you up here, buddy.
Mic me up. As they said with King Solomon, is very difficult choices. And those choices are predicated on being able to be rational, realistic, and that are conjunctive with what we're trying to do here tonight. When I read this resolution, I struggled with two things. One is the actual finance. I am not normally one that has butterflies in the stomach, and I've been known to be reckless, done things I shouldn't do. But I need to have that level of confidence that we are going to be able to undertake this project within a timely manner and then within the funding context that we have. So, I am one of those still left here that originally, and I know two of my colleagues are here, when I voted against the purchase of the property. At that time, the rationale, I made it very clear, without prejudice, that it lacked the business plan. There was really no business plan included. And derail things or to, and to that extent, Councillor Chuck, and I agree with you on certain aspects of the twin pad. I'm not convinced, not yet. So what I would like to suggest, save and except for all the other parts of the resolution, that the second pad be set aside as a placeholder until such time that we can see what the usage is of the new arena. In fact, that also couples with the overall usage of our current arena, which, as I understand it, and I stand corrected, we will be receiving a report on the sale of the town's assets. And I would presume that that would include that asset as well. Having listened to the residents, and many of you have had a chance to speak to me, I know many of you are not opposed. I know many of you believe, and so do I, that a community is reflective of its quality of life by constructing those entities that truly reflect what we are now and what we will be in the future. I am also one of those who is part of a generation that's growing older. I want to be sure that for my son and the generations to come, that they too can come here and live. I'm not really clear, and I've struggled with this all day. I'm in favor of the center. I just think that the rationalization currently for a twin pad is not solid enough with me, and I would prefer rather that we set aside a placeholder for that, and that business case be brought forward at a time when I feel more comfortable. So in some respects, I really don't want to vote. I want to abstain from this until I get that sense, and that was my original thought. However, if my vote has to go the route of not supporting a $36 million project, then so be it, and I'll be judged for it. My concern, again, rational, sustainable, affordable, realistic. If those elements are there, that's fine. So as a friendly amendment, maybe not a friendly amendment, I would suggest that the construction of the second arena be put on as a placeholder and the design component be put into place, and that we still continue on the route with the construction of the community center and the first pad, along with all the other facilities. And that hopefully that this will become a place mark for people also to put their money into. So my fellow councillors, Mr. Mayor, staff, that's my feelings right now.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Papp. You've suggested. You've suggested an amendment, but it's friendly at all, and so
that's fine. Then it's not friendly. That's fine.
Thank you.
I'm not going to debate whether it's friendly or not. I'm just making a suggestion of the resolution.
Thank you, Councillor.
Without prejudice. Thank you.
Thank you. Other speakers to the? Yes.
Is there a seconder?
Councillor Papp has suggested an amendment, but I think I would rule that one cannot simply remove that portion. We already heard a presentation this evening that that second rink is fully incorporated into the, so it cannot just simply be removed. So I would rule that, and please, members of the public, I would rule that that cannot be an amendment. I think if Councillor Papp is not in favor of the moving forward as has been, vote against that portion.
I see. So there's no amendment. We're dealing with the motion as presented.
Yes,
that's fair enough, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to have clarity on that.
We may want to divide the motion so that councillors can vote on the moving ahead with the construction, and then the remaining portion of the various pieces. So we may want to do that, but I don't see that you can remove that piece because it's embedded in there. Please.
That's the architect.
Mr. Mayor, then in that case.
He hasn't designed it.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. We are trying to proceed. Folks, please. Folks,
Listen
please.
to what people have to say.
Please.
All right, Mr. Mayor, so is there an ability to divide the motion?
One can divide the motion, Councillor
Right, that's what I
Papp. There
understand.
are a number of.
That's correct.
The first one, I think, is the one that you have problems with, which is the construction and operation of a multi-use facility.
That's correct. The rest of them, I don't have a problem with.
Okay. So I propose that if you want to show your vote separately on that, it can be divided in that way. But I rule, and I can be challenged to my ruling, but I'm ruling that the current design does, which is a design, does include a double arena, and therefore it cannot, you can't just say, let's take that component out.
Mr. Mayor, I'm not challenging you, but I'm not asking it to be removed. I'm saying that it can be place marked, still be there, and designed up to a certain point. I have had some discussion with other general contractors say that can be done. So I'm not asking it to be removed. I'm asking, and maybe that's the way it's being interpreted, but anyhow, I don't want to cause any more.
Thank you.
Okay.
Let's hear from other councillor colleagues. So I had Councillor Gurley and Councillor Ribiak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There's been a lot of numbers that were thrown around tonight, and some of them are quite confusing. Some go to a study that was from 2013 and 2014. The latest report, the 2015 report, definitely shows that the ice use is there, is sustainable, and the financial plan actually counts on teams from outside of Pelham coming in to help finance the thing. It's gravy when they come in because they will be paying a premium. Some of the ice time that we're using is for our local recreational groups will be subsidized by the town, and the gravy part of it will be that other users from out of town that are coming in to take up some of the other ice time that will be available because we have the two pads will certainly give us a surplus, or at least a flow of financing coming in. Also, uses of the basketball courts. I understand that there is a possibility that the basketball courts will be used by groups that from outside that will be using that for practices and so on. Also, the fact that the double pad has a potential to be used for many other uses. So all of these things are revenue streams and are included in the potential financial plan. And the design of this, I think, is, let's say the concept design of this certainly deals with the financial plan as it now exists, and I think it makes sense to leave the plan just the way it is.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillor Ribiak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. With respect to the first part of the motion, and I think that's the meat of what it is that we're here to decide today, whether to proceed with the plan as indicated or not. The other parts are parts of the motion that will help facilitate the entire process of executing the plan in the best possible way. So it's with respect to the first part of the motion that I make my comments. And I will be supporting this motion, Mr. Mayor. You know, occasionally as we contemplate measures to meet current and future needs of the residents of our town, while protecting, preserving, and promoting fundamental characteristics and values of our community, we have the opportunity to do something significant, even transformative. This project presents us with that kind of opportunity. The community center we are moving today will have recreational and cultural activities available to a broad spectrum of our residents. Rinks and courts for skating, hockey, lacrosse, basketball, volleyball, a whole slew of activities. A walking track, spaces for participation in performing arts, space for a variety of artistic and cultural pursuits, or just for gathering. This project goes far beyond merely replacing an aging hockey rink. It raises the potential of the community asset to the whole new and different level. It can be used by everyone and will be used by residents of all ages throughout the town. And Mr. Mayor, there's no both needed and wanted by our community. Support for this project within our community is huge. In my experience, the greatest number of people I have spoken with have said in so many words, get on with it, we need it, get it done. The correspondence we've received today are indicative of the support of this project. There was, what, 120 approximately letters? What was the breakdown?
138.
138, and the breakdown is what, about 10 to 1 in support of the project. So I support this project for what it is and what it can do for our community. I don't propose to go into the specific details and come up with a shopping list of all the various aspects of the project. I think it is designed very, very well. I think the construction plan, our use of a project manager well skilled in this area provides us with a good level of confidence that the project will be completed as planned. We have an excellent financial plan, a plan that's based on an overstatement of costs and an understatement of revenue, a plan in which anything that we can manage beyond those elements that we've stated can only make it better. If we get support from other tiers of government, it'll only make the project a better one for us financially. But as we are not counting on that in our plan, we can still proceed to do it. So it can only be improved from what it stated. It is highly unlikely that it will diminish from that. So I'm pleased with the plan that has come forward. I believe that a second rink has been justified in the numbers that have been presented to us within the feasibility plans that we've received. I think that if we began construction on schedule now, it'll be, what, 2.5 years or thereabouts before it's finished. So whatever need is projected by the second arena sometime in the future, we will have gotten there by then. And the fact is that if we are making a decision at that point in time to construct a second arena, it'll only cost us much more than we're proposing to spend on it now. So I think that fiscal prudence would suggest that if we know we're going to need it and it can be achieved at a financially doable level at this point, then we should go ahead and do it. So I'm going to support that, Mr. Mayor. With respect to the other parts of the motion, I find them all an excellent mechanism by which we can facilitate the construction, and I will be supporting those as well. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilor Ribiak, for your comments. I encourage you to use the microphone, please, Councilor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can you hear me? Okay. If not, I'll show. As this process has unfolded over the last 3 or 4 months, I must admit, as the negativity and the criticism, the personal attacks, emails, and what have you, it became very discouraging and upsetting. And then I had a light bulb go off, and it said to myself, this is democracy. Get over the cursing. what your criticism led to, as upsetting as it was, it forced me to look inward. Forced me to look at my motivation. The decisions that have been followed and the decisions that have been made to date. This personal retrospective has helped me be confident that I and my council colleagues have worked hard to ensure that the best interests of this community have been considered, and that we have been thorough in our approach as we have worked through the planning stages of this project. For being part of the process, you have spoken out and forced me to review all aspects of this project. I am now more confident than ever to move forward. I support all aspects of this motion, Mr. Mayor. The experts that we have engaged and whom we have worked with to date have demonstrated creativity, expertise, and to achieve the best results possible. I therefore support moving forward with Ball Construction, Petroff Architects, and Intercom Inc. I do encourage them to be diligent in their undertakings and that they work to ensure that the best interests of this community come first and foremost, and that they are open and transparent and senior staff. I particularly support having a separate reserve fund for the community center, as this will aid in the transparency and the understanding for both council and the public. It goes without saying that staff and council need to take the steps to monitor the upper levels of government for opportunities for their help. We need to stay alert to these opportunities and to follow up efficiently and with vigor to any opportunity which presents itself. Lastly, I am particularly supportive of the initiative of looking at best practices for project oversight. This initiative is not a slight to Petroff, to Ball, or to our staff, but it is public and to council that this project will be well run, that quality will be assured, and that costs will be controlled and managed. There are several different processes which can be followed and which have been followed in other municipalities for projects such as this across Ontario. And I look forward to receiving a report from staff with respect to best practices and to the discussion at council. I personally want to assure the public that I will be supporting such an oversight. Mr. Mayor, I will be supporting this motion in its entirety and look forward to moving the project to construct the Pelham Community Center forward and to the very positive impact it will have on our community, socially, culturally, recreationally, and economically. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillor King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you. It has taken many years of consultation, research, and input excuse me, from the experts in their fields, as well as the numerous community representatives and interested user groups to come to the point that we're at this evening. We have to have trust in everyone that has brought information forward for us to base our opinion on. And we've heard the concerns tonight that accompany a project of this magnitude. We've heard it tonight, we've been hearing it for months, and perhaps longer. At the same time, as a councillor, I've committed to serving the needs of the community for not just today, but for tomorrow in the best interest of all. The benefits to the community are numerous, from the public interaction to the town's economic development, and from youth to seniors. I like to say, from cradle to grave, we will serve this community. All age groups will flourish and benefit from this interaction. To meet the needs of today and the generations to come, I will, Mr. Mayor, be supporting the movement of this project going forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor King. Now, if council will allow, I'd like to make a few comments. The desire for renewed community facilities, recreation, cultural facilities, is something that's been talked about, as we know, for many, many, many years. And in late 2012, council directed staff to look at each of those studies, and we heard some of them today, someone speak about them today. The 7 studies and reports from town staff and consultants recommending renewed community facilities, and they did talk about twin ice facilities. Einstein is famous for saying, among things, that insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And that executive summary was pivotal for council to recognize that we had to change what we were doing. We kept looking at the desires and not at the business case or the sustaining demand. And so we changed that. And we looked at that business case, and that's what that survey came about back in 2013, and we hired Leisure Plan International to conduct a statistically significant resident survey about our community needs and preferences. They tested the business case for community facilities, and they made a number of recommendations in 2014 and 2015 based on those surveys and based on the surveys of the number of community groups. They demonstrated that there is sustaining demand for this facility. And so council established the Architectural Design Advisory Committee, as we heard about, with representatives from across the community to put together a design for a facility that does include those elements. I'm proud to say that that's been a collaborative process. It's been an iterative process. We heard some things were in, some things were out, some things changed, etc. But there was tremendous goodwill in that design, both from council and from the representatives on that 15-member committee. And they came up with an excellent design. A number of us here were re-elected in 2014, as was mentioned, with a promise of building new community facilities if they were affordable. What's a measure of affordability? How's this one? Back in 1975, when the existing arena was built, the debenture at that time would impact taxpayers $11.80. You know what that is in today's dollars? It's more than the 46. It's about $49, $50. It was affordable then. It's certainly affordable now. In 2015, the other important thing that council did was that it said, as we heard about the design ballooning, especially because of the option to put in the rink later, we hired a construction manager to oversee that development and work together with the architect on the design. So that design, they would say, well, there's a better way of doing a roof, and you don't need all this space, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And a very collaborative process to achieve the design that's before us and was presented more than a month ago to the community. And I want to say a few things about the second arena. We heard that it's really impossible to take that out without costing more dollars and delays and time. Council actually received a report, not the 2014 report that a previous councillor spoke about, or took excerpts from, but in 2015 in June. Because of the suggestion of the design committee and because of the suggestion of various ICE users and other users, that they said that all the demand isn't captured here from Pelham. So they re-looked at those numbers and presented that report in June of 2015 and recommended that there is sustaining demand for that second ice surface. It will pay for it. And in July, on July 7th, 2015, council approved, go design it with a second pad, make it a double pad facility. All of the discussion about arenas has excluded certain elements this isn't an arena. This is a community center. This is a community center that will have so many uses. I love the reply from a member of the, seems to have moved now, when people were asking her, which part is the part for seniors, or which part is the part for youth? And her response, the entire facility is for seniors. The entire facility is for youth. The entire facility is for our community. This is a community center. Concentrate on ice at a certain period of time in the day. They neglect to think about the other uses, even just for the arena. Things like home shows or art shows or lacrosse. Later on in our agenda, we have starting memorandum of understanding with lacrosse groups to use that facility so that it's used a year. And there's so many other uses for the other parts of the facility, the multi-purpose spaces that we heard about. Public meetings, gatherings, socials, training centers, etc. And also for the basketball, the gymnasium facilities. I say it's basketball. Basketball, he's a big guy, it's hard to argue with him. It's going to be used during the day for pickleball, as we heard. It's going to be used for Tai Chi. It's going to be used for yoga. It's going to be used for some of those soft recreational things that the entire community. And dodgeball. The Mayor's Youth Advisory Council desperately wants to use it for dodgeball. And other things. So the vision that one of renewed community facilities that are affordable, community facilities that will be here and last a long time. And that's what this design is. And it's for those reasons that I am very supportive of this resolution before us. The different elements as well. And I do want to acknowledge, as I think some other councillors have acknowledged, we have heard from the community, and we recognize that you're saying there's other projects out there that have gone over budget. It's not a great example for us to follow, that there's not on certain things, that we certainly need federal, provincial funding for this initiative. In terms of monitoring it, that's included in this resolution. So the council can work together with staff and others to make sure that this project is monitored and that it proceeds as is envisioned. In terms of the federal, provincial grants, I would encourage you, each of you, when the time comes, when those grants open up, and they should be soon, and it's going to be quick, to assist us in writing to our member of provincial parliament, our member of parliament, and others in Niagara, and say to them, we need funding for this facility, and express your concerns then. I've met, I don't know how many, like, it's countless in terms of the number of times that I've met with Vance Badaway and Chris Fiddle and Minister Bradley and Dean Allison and Tim Hudak, all talking about this facility just over the last number of months, the last 3 or 4 months. They know that there is a huge desire from our community for this facility, and they want to support it. They're just waiting for those budgets to approve and the process to open up. So we need to encourage them, and I hope we can count on you, all members of the public, in order to encourage those that support from upper levels of government. The final thing I'll say is, you know, you say, why now? Why not delay? Why not? A couple of reasons why now. The first is because of the work that we heard about Mr. Kaiser speak about in the East Fawn Hill development. It was included in the urban boundary in 1999-2000, and something that this council has been grappling with, is how do we make that development fit with our community so it isn't some of the things that folks are saying, that it does embrace our community, it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb, so that it has walking trails and cycling trails and honors environmental wetlands and responsibility areas. And it's a benefit to our community. So things like the medical center and things like the retirement home and other developments, and there's a forum coming up about seniors housing this month, and next month, and I commend the Seniors Advisory Committee for putting that together to talk about those initiatives. But the other reason is because time is money. And we know that the costs for construction just go up and up and up. And if there is a delay, it will surely add to that cost. And the pricing that we have is for this year. It's for all those reasons, because this fits with the vision of our community, because council's included in our strategic plan the last number of years and in the 2016 strategic plan to say that we need to make a decision on community. I am very supportive of the motion that's presented to us. It doesn't mean that it ends here, that council can just stand back and put our feet up and say it's done. There's lots of work, and council's going to be diligent on that work, and I know they are, because this is an excellent group that works very, very diligently to support all of the town. I've gone over time, so those are my comments. Thank you very much. Are there any further comments, Councillor Pat?
As I requested, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to divide the resolution.
Thank you, Councillor. So the first part will be
Voted separately.
moved by Councillor Kersey, second by operation of a multi-use facility to be known as the Pelham Community Center, be and is hereby authorized and approved at a total estimated cost not to exceed $36,200, $204,777. Okay? So that's what we're going to vote on now. Are you ready for calling the question?
Mayor, can we have a recorded vote, please?
Thank you, Councillor Junkin. We'll have you oversee that vote. Madam Clerk.
It's just on item 1.
Members of council, we're voting on the first paragraph of the motion. Be it resolved that the construction and operation of a multi-use facility to be known as the Pelham Community Center be and is hereby authorized and approved at a total estimated cost not to exceed $36,277. And I will ask for the vote in alphabetical order on that paragraph only. Councillor Kersey.
Support.
Councillor Durley.
In favor.
Councillor Junkin.
Nay.
Councillor King.
In favor.
Councillor Pat.
Opposed.
Councillor Mayor Augustine.
In favor.
5-2, the motion carries.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. The motion carries. And now to the remainder of the motion, which includes approving Ball Construction as the project manager, Petroff as the architects of design, Intercom conducting the next phase, the creation of a reserve account, staff be directed to monitor the provincial and federal governments for and making application for funding, and regarding the recommendations for oversight and project management. Please, everybody. And then that staff be directed to prepare the necessary bylaws for council consideration. Are we prepared to call the vote on that? I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. The next motion has been moved by Councillor Kersey, second by Councillor Junkin. Be it resolved that council receive the issue summary report outlining options for selling municipal land for information, and that staff be directed to present options for a comprehensive development and land sale strategy for the town surplus lands in the East Fonthill area, and a special meeting of council to be convened prior to the end of May 2016. Any discussion on this motion? Councillor Pat?
I like that motion. I would like to also include in there, if staff can do that, is the consideration of all municipal assets that could be sold, not just East Fonthill. There are other properties that I know that are available.
So, Councillor Pat?
I don't want to throw it out.
No, that's fine. So it is quite specific in terms of the East Fonthill area. You would like
other areas, other towns' assets.
And is there a seconder for that amendment? Councillor Ribbiak seconds that amendment so that it says sales strategy of the town surplus lands in East Fonthill area and other areas. Are we prepared for voting on the amendment? All those in favor of the amendment? All those opposed? The amendment carries unanimously. Thank you. Any further comments to the motion as amended? Councillor Kersey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to be supportive of this motion, but I would like it understood that, and I trust that staff will include this in their comprehensive report, that we will consider engaging outside third-party expertise with respect to the land development and land sales. in that we want to achieve the highest and best use for the land, maximizing the values that can be attained during the sales process. But also, and more than that, I'd like to see that encased in our sales strategy that we encase the envisionment or the strategies that have been espoused in the East Fawn Hill Master Plan, the Downtown Master Plan, and the Urban Design Guidelines. We don't want to be in such a race to sell the lands that we lose sight of the things that we have espoused as being important in those properties. And I trust staff will bring forward a very comprehensive report in this matter.
Thank you very much, Councillor. The CEO has indicated to me that that will be included. Thank you. Comments or questions regarding the motion about land sales? There being none, I call the question on those in favor. Any opposed? That motion carries as amended. Thank you. It's been moved by Councillor Durley, seconded by Councillor Kersey. Be it resolved, the Council receive the issue report regarding the Memorandum of Understanding. And the Council authorize the Mayor and Clerk to enter into Memorandums of Understanding to negotiate the appropriate long-term leases with Pelham Minor Hockey Association, Pelham Panther Basketball, the Southern Tier Admirals AAA, the Welland Raiders Minor Lacrosse Association, and the Niagara Center Figure Skating Club. Discussion on that motion, Councillor Durley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to perhaps make an amendment to that as well, just adding the fact that, and open to other negotiations of groups that may want to enter into memos of understanding.
Thank you, Councillor Pack. I'll second that. And other groups that may want to...
May wish standing in the future.
Okay, thank you. The amendment is, and other groups that may wish to enter into memorandums of understanding in the future. It's been moved by Councillor Durley, seconded by Councillor Papp. Any further discussion to that? Councillor Junkin.
Yes, I question why we're doing this, because unless I'm definitely not a lawyer, but they have no legal basis. So you can sign a memorandum of understanding and 6 months later walk away from it. Am I right there or wrong?
If you could answer that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The councillor is correct. MOUs are non-legally binding agreements. The purpose of the MOUs, though, is to establish these can be negotiated. It gives us, us being staff, the council mandate to negotiate leases, and then once those have been negotiated, to present them to council for consideration and signing.
Thank you, councillor.
Excuse me. No, I guess that answers my question. I just think that by signing these memorandums of understandings, I can't help but wondering if we're not just giving ourselves a false sense of security. But I guess we'll see what happens when it comes to signing on the dotted line. Thank you.
Thank you very much, councillor. That was supposed to be for the amendment, but I think when we've signed other memorandums of understanding, we've done so and then negotiated legal agreements with them. So sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. The one with the YMCA did not follow through into an agreement, but the others have. So thank you for that. Are we ready for calling the question on the amendment? Moved by Councillor Durley, second by Councillor Papp. All those in favor? Any opposed? That amendment carries. Any further comments to the main motion as amended? Councillor Ribiak?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you to council and to those watching. I think that this is a motion that we ought to understand in terms of what it offers this town and this whole project. The fact that there are people asking us, lining up to enter into discussion about the use of the arenas should give us some degree of confidence that in fact there is a demand out there. I don't think, frankly, that we can have it both ways. We can't decry the potential, the lack of potential for the use of a second pad, for example, and at the same time minimize the meaning and impact of people who want actually to use it. So I'm fully supportive, and I'm sure glad that this is an initiative that we can take, that there are in fact organizations who are looking for the ice time and the other court times that we will have on offer. So I'm going to support it, of course.
Thank you, Councillor. Any further comments from councillors? There being none, I call the question as amended. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion carries as amended. Thank you. The clerk informs me that we do need to receive all of the addendum correspondence. So it has been moved by Councillor King, seconded by Councillor Durley. Be resolved the council receive the correspondence submitted by individuals to the proposed Pelham Community Centre is listed on part of the addendum package on the agenda for the special meeting, with staff be directed to respond as required. Again, those individuals, I think it went up till noon today that we were receiving ongoing emails, correspondence, etc. Read those correspondence items, some of them including Brickworks, talking about the construction of the facility and the long-lasting facility. So, any other comments? I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion carries. For this to be added or information about this, it's been moved by Councillor Rabiak, second by Councillor Durley. Be it resolved the council received the March 16, 2016 memorandum from Watson and Associates Economics Limited outlining the potential development charge recovery analysis, and that while recognizing that the development charge methodology outlined therein will fund a component of the Pelham Community Centre, staff be directed and Associates to demonstrate how this process will work in a special meeting to be convened before the end of May 2016. Questions or comments about the motion? So we're going to hear more about that because there is so much interest on it. I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. We're ready for bylaws. It's been moved by Councillor King, second by Councillor Durley. Be it resolved the following bylaw be read a first, second, and third time and passed, being a bylaw 3738 to adopt, ratify, and confirm the proceedings of Council of the Town of Pelham in a special meeting held today, the 25th day of April. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. It's been moved by Councillor Durley, second by Councillor Junkin. Be it resolved that the special meeting of Council be adjourned until the next regular meeting scheduled for Monday, May 2nd, 2016, unless sooner called by the Mayor. I want to thank everyone for their participation this evening. I want to thank TV Kojiko. I want to thank WeeStreem for being here. I want to thank Rock Studios, members of council, staff for setting up, and everybody, ladies and gentlemen, for your attention. I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.